What's up guys, Isaiah here. Today I have something special to show you guys. This is my Minalto 28mm f2.8 and I love this lens. You can pick one of these up for about 50 bucks. I got this one for a little cheaper and I'll teach you guys how to do that later in the video. So I got this lens right here because you can actually adapt vintage lenses onto modern camera bodies. And I love doing it. It's a very nice feel, they're very cinematic, and they're cheap. When I heard that you could adapt vintage lenses, I was in the process of trying to buy some more lenses as I only had the kit lens for my Canon M50. So I bought a bunch of these vintage lenses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. As you can see, I went a little crazy, but here are 3 reasons why you should buy some vintage lenses and how they will change the way you shoot video. First, these lenses are super unique. The materials and coatings used to make these lenses are amazing and you cannot find them in modern day lenses, unless you pay a pretty penny for those lenses. These lenses give your footage a film-like feel. The bokeh is insane, especially when you get an f1.8 or 2.8. I also love the f-stop being on the lens. They have a nice click to them, but you can also declick them, which is what I recommend because it makes it more cinematic-like and more like a cinema lens. And when you declick your aperture, you can actually fine-tune the aperture to be exactly exposed how you would like. One thing I didn't hear on any videos was if you declick your aperture, it may be a little too smooth, where it doesn't stay in place exactly perfect. I used grease as a longer term solution, but it still didn't work out, and I would recommend you do some research on your lens and see if you can find out if it would do that or not. The next reason you want to buy a vintage lens is because they're practically cinema lenses. The only other difference between a cinema lens and a vintage lens would be the filter size being universal with old line of lenses. But even some cinema lenses are just recased vintage lenses in a cinema-like body, which just proves my point even more. These lenses are literally just cinema lenses on a budget. Also, one more thing to note on these cinema lenses is they are old, they don't have electronics in them, so the autofocus is non-existent, there's only manual focus. Also, when I just got my first vintage lens, I pulled it out of the box, I was super excited, I hooked it up to my camera with the adapter, and nothing happened. But then, after a little bit of YouTube research, I found out that you actually have to turn a setting on. You have to go to your menu, and I'll show you guys how to do it right now. You go here, and then you go there, and you click this, and it lets your camera shutter without having a lens on because these have no electronics. You have to set that up first before you shoot. It's just a one-time thing and you don't have to turn it off after. It doesn't affect shooting on regular lenses. The manual focus also isn't that big of a deal. I usually just use focus peaking and it works out great for me. The only thing is sometimes in low light situations the peaking isn't perfect, but other than that it's amazing. But to fix that, you could just manually zoom in and spot your focus and then zoom back out in the camera. I actually enjoy having no autofocus. It makes you be more intentional with your shot and actually nail the focus perfectly and make sure everything is perfect in the shot. The last reason to invest in vintage lenses would be the low price to get in. I got all of my lenses here for under $20. The only downsides to get vintage lenses would be the manual focus and having no built-in stabilization, but if you're doing manual focus work anyway, it shouldn't be a big deal. Plus, nowadays these cameras that are on the market have amazing built-in stabilization where the lens doesn't even need it anymore. And now for me to tell you guys how I got these lenses for all under $20. To start, I checked out places like eBay and I saw that they were a little pricey. They were $50 to $60, some even ranging up to $100. I was smart and I went down to Facebook Marketplace on OfferUp and I waited until I found film cameras for sale. I waited on OfferUp until I saw that there were a few cameras for sale with lenses that I wanted, so I went ahead and bought those. I met up with the people and because it was a bundle I actually ended up getting the price down to being less than $20 a lens. Plus the film camera, now I have 2 film cameras. I also got this one at a thrift store for $15. And now for just under $50 I have a 28mm all the way to 200mm at f3.5 and the 28mm at f2.8. You can't really complain with that price range. And I'm working on getting my adapter for this f1.7 50mm, which I got for $10. Anyways, if I didn't convince you to get a vintage lens now, I don't think you'll ever buy one. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you.